Joining me now is Mike Davis, a former clerk for Justice Gorsuch and former chief nominations counsel for the Senate Judiciary Committee. So I want to start by asking you, do you agree or disagree with the three liberal Supreme Court justices?
I disagree with the liberal Supreme Court justice. I think it's a scare tactic because they lost this abortion case, and so they're trying to bring in these straw man arguments on contraception, especially on interracial marriage. I think that's a bizarre argument that's clearly protected by the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment.
Now, as you well know, a majority of Americans support the right to have an abortion. I wanted to ask you your reaction and thoughts just on this unprecedented move by the Supreme Court.
Well, that's great. It should be a political issue for the state legislatures, and so these protesters maybe should move their illegal protests, their intimidation campaigns from Supreme Court justices' homes where they're harassing and intimidating their families and having them removed from their homes and even leading to assassination attempts. And maybe they should march to their state legislatures and lobby their state legislatures to change their laws. If there's so much political support, they shouldn't have a problem.
So in terms of appeal or legal action, what more can those who support and those who oppose Roe v. Wade do?
This is largely going to become a state issue. It's going to be under our Constitution. The federal government has specific, limited, and divided powers. Nowhere in the Constitution is abortion mentioned. Therefore, this is an issue for the states and for the people. And this is an issue where if people don't like abortion restrictions, they can move to California. If people don't like COVID restrictions, they can move to Florida.
Meanwhile, given this historic decision during their Senate confirmation hearings and private meetings with senators, did Judges Gorsuch, your former boss, and Kavanaugh mislead or misrepresent their stance on precedent and on Roe v. Wade?
So I helped Gorsuch, I helped lead him through that process as one of his former law clerks. I ran the process in the Senate as the staff leader for Justice Kavanaugh's confirmation. I also worked on the Chief Justice, Justice Alito, and Justice Barrett's confirmation. All these Supreme Court nominees follow the judicial canons, and their job is to say that they'll follow precedent, including the law of precedent. When you look at the law of precedent, you have to determine whether these cases are rightly or wrongly decided and the effects of those cases. And so, no, they didn't mislead at all. And I think senators like Senator Susan Collins in Maine need to be a lot more careful about what they say about their meetings with these Supreme Court justices, because she's essentially accusing them of being unethical, and nothing could be farther from the truth.
I want to pull up a recent Gallup poll. It shows confidence in the Supreme Court hitting a new low. Americans with a great deal or quite a lot of confidence in the U.S. Supreme Court. In 1988, that was 56%, more than half the country. 2021, 36%. Today, 25%. I want to get your thoughts on the state of the Supreme Court of the United States.
So federal judges have lifetime tenure. They have pay protection. They shouldn't care about the political polling at all. Brown versus Board of Education, education was not popular when the Supreme Court decided that. The Supreme Court should be deciding cases that make them unpopular. Their job is to protect minority rights, to protect us from government tyranny and majority tyranny.
All right, I'm going to leave it there. Mike Davis, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.